Hello. I'm sitting in the vicarage garden, having got home 2 days ago from a week-long retreat on Bardsey Island, and those of you who were at church on Sunday at St Giles will have already heard me enthusing about it. Somebody said to me after the service, why do you need to go on retreat? And on reflection I thought, actually, that's a really good question. And I think an answer, I would say, there's something about intentionally making space to simply spend time with God. And of course our hope is that we're always making space to spend time with God, but sometimes we do have to boundary that time, don't we? And I always encourage folk to make sure that every day they have some boundary time, and they say, no, this is my God space, which doesn't mean you don't ever pray at any other point during the day, but it's still important to do that. A bit like we allocate quality time to spend with loved ones. And I guess for me, a retreat is something that once a year I say, this is a week, and that is my whole agenda, just to make the space to be with God. And of course, for me, it came at a particularly important time, really, given that my father died just three weeks ago, and it's all been rather full on, as you'll imagine, and just to be able to have the space to sit and to grieve, and to be in the most beautiful place imaginable was amazing. So I'm going to be slightly self-indulgent in this thought for the day, because I'm not going to give you many more thoughts, really. The only thought really has been, why go on retreat? Instead, I'm going to share with you one of the two poems that I wrote when I was on Bardsey Island. There's a hill on the island which is affectionately known as the Mountain. It's the only place you can get a mobile signal, but it's also, the views are absolutely spectacular. So I'm going to share with you, just by way of sharing with you some of myself, the first poem I wrote when on the island, and in my next thought for the day maybe I'll share the second one. So here it is. The joy of being alone, up here on the mountain, and yet not alone. Entranced by the sight and sound of the swirling currents beneath me, accompanied by the seagulls' haunting cry. Caressed by the gentle wind, reminding me of God's embracing spirit. Captivated by the intricacies of the grasses and lichens beneath my bare feet. The wonder of being alone, up here on the mountain, and yet not alone. I'm rebuked by the endlessly squawking crow at my first resting place, warning me that this spot was not mine to inhabit. And so I move on in search of another space, one that did not encroach on the home of another. And yet here too I'm reminded by all around me that the gift of this place is not mine to inhabit, but rather to respectfully visit. The gift of being alone up here on this mountain, and yet not alone, awed by the presence of the one who loves me and honours me, who says, you are precious. Noticing him in the waves below and the skylark above, the buzzing fly and the sheep calling to her lamb. And so I avail myself to his comfort, letting him catch each tear of my grief in his hands, and hear him say, I am here. These gifts are for you. I love you. And my response? To stay here alone, up here on this mountain, and to let this deafening and yet silent presence envelop me as I say, wow, forgive me, thank you, and here I am. You have called me by name, and I am yours.